The newly released Samsung Galaxy S20 ULTRA 5G has arguably the most advanced camera system on a smartphone to date. And here it is, sitting on my table, ready to be unboxed. This is Eric from Tech. Excited to do another unboxing for you all, so what are we waiting for? Let's do this! As usual, Samsung decided to use a plain black box in its new S series lineup. If you've had one of the flagship phones from Samsung in the last couple of years, then you know it's going to look similar to this. Only difference is you've got a different writing on the front. In this case, you've got the S20, and that is in the gray color, which is actually the color that I picked. There are two colors for the S20 Ultra. This one is in the cosmic gray. There's also cosmic black color, but I wanted to pick a different color other than black because I really liked this gray color when I first saw it. On the left side, you've got the usual writing, which is the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G. Nothing on the right side. Let me just get a pocket knife and open it up real quick. Alright, let's slide it open. Put that phone down for now. There's the phone. As usual, you've got a smaller box at the top. And it's going to contain your SIM ejector tool. Let's see what else is in here. You got a quick guide and warranty card. Quick start guide, warranty card. And there's a free case in here, guys. Would be pretty disappointed if it didn't come with one, especially with how much you're paying for the phone. So the least Samsung can do is actually include a free case. In this case, it's just a clear jelly case. As I've always said in a couple of my older videos, not the best for drop protection, but it'll protect your device from scratches and scrapes. Well, that is until you get a chance to buy a better one. Let me know in the comment section down below which case you're using for your S20 Ultra. Alright, before we actually handle the phone, let me just set this aside for now. Just put it down there and see what else is in here. So here you just got a regular Samsung logo. On the Z Flip, you've got more writing on it, which if you watch my previous video, then you'd remember what it was. You've got the standard inclusions in the box. You've got the 25-watt charger here, and of course, it's a USB-C to USB-C cable. And of course, you've got that cable right here. And 8kg branded earphones. Pretty standard setup, similar to all the recent flagship phones from Samsung. So if you had an S10 Plus, a Note 10 Plus, they're all gonna feel the same. The unboxing experience doesn't change much. The only difference is you get a fast charger here in the box. And let's see what else is in here. Alright, on the Z Flip, you actually had an OTG USB-A to USB-C, but nothing on this one. Okay, let me try to put it back where I found it. Probably not gonna use it since I already have the ones I've been using on the previous phones, so I don't need to use the ones here. Okay, there you go. Let's set it aside. And here's the phone. Actually pretty big, bit heavy in the hand, bit thicker than I'm used to. Let me see the Note 10 Lite over here. Not sure if you can tell, it's really a lot wider than the Note 10 Plus, and you can really see that camera bump at the back. It's protruding pretty high from the back there. Right, let me just turn on the phone real quick. Let me skip ahead to after I've set up the phone. Alright, in the interest of saving time, I actually already updated the phone, or I already went through the setup, and I'm now on the home page or on the home screen. Let's run through the phone's key specs. Starting off with the display. This is actually Samsung's largest S-series phone to date, measuring a whopping 6.9 inches diagonally. One key upgrade to the S-series phone of this year is that it comes in 120Hz refresh rate. Though, it only works in Full HD Plus or 1080 resolution. If you want to bump up the resolution to Quad HD, the phone dials down the refresh rate down to the standard 60Hz. Can't have both, unfortunately. But in my opinion, our eyes can't really tell the difference between 1080 and Quad HD, but the difference between 60 and 120 Hz is night and day. So in my opinion, I don't think you'll be missing much by not using a Quad HD, but once you see or gotten used to the 120 Hz display, then there's no going back. It's basically what they say, you can't unsee it. So let me check. I haven't seen any difference yet. Might not be enabled on the display. Let's go to the settings real quick. Let's try searching for 120, and it comes up with that setting. Yeah, you're still at the standard refresh rate, but let's put it on high refresh. Yeah, I can definitely tell the difference. I'm not sure if the camera can capture that, but for me, there is a subtle difference on this one. Here's hoping that Samsung actually comes up with a software update that lets you use 120Hz even at the Quad HD resolution. This phone still has an under display fingerprint scanner, though not sure if it still uses the same one that was used on the S10 Plus and the Note 10 Plus. Always had problems on my S10 Plus, and it's usually hit or miss most of the time. So let's test it out. I actually already registered my fingerprint here, but I haven't tested it yet. So let's see. Let's lock the screen. There you go. Still not very responsive. Looks like they're still using the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner and not an optical one. You can tell it's not optical because this display doesn't light up from the back. Usually if it's optical, the display fires up light from the bottom or from the scanner itself so it can see your fingerprint. Not too bad. Might have to do with the S20 Ultra still having that film protector that comes pre-installed on the phone. I already installed the Whitestone dome glass on the S10 Plus, and fingerprint sensing is actually really bad after that. Though it's the only tempered glass that I actually used that worked, though as I mentioned, hit or miss. Unlike the Galaxy Z Flip, the S20 series has proper protection. It has Gorilla Glass 6 on the front and the back. So some people do have the option of going without a tempered glass or a screen protector, but with the amount that you're paying for the phone, personally, I'd rather not risk it, but to each his own. Some people like rocking the phone naked even without a case, but hey, that's their hard-earned money. The display is still curved, though not as much as the older S-series phones. But I think if you're gonna opt for a tempered glass, then the Whitestone dome glass is still your best option. Still another expense for an already expensive phone, but you want all the protection you can get. Let's talk about the internals next. Still not a fan of Samsung using two different chipsets for the same phone. The US market will actually get Qualcomm's latest and greatest, the Snapdragon 865, while the global market will get Samsung's homegrown Exynos 990, which is the case here. In the last few generations, the Qualcomm chip has outperformed the Exynos counterpart. Let's hope that this year they'll be on more even ground. So I'll try to get my hands on a Snapdragon version and do a comparison for you guys. The one I have here, as I mentioned, is the Exynos version. It comes with 12GB of RAM and 128GB of UFS 3.0 internal storage. There's also a 16GB RAM and 512GB of storage version, but not sure it's gonna come out here in this market. Right, as I mentioned, there's your 12GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. The one I have here is actually a dual SIM version, with the second slot being hybrid, so you can either use another SIM or you can use a micro SD card. It also has a dual speaker setup, similar to all of Samsung's flagship phones in the last couple of years, so that includes the S10 Plus and the Note 10 Plus. Really interested in doing my usual Antutu benchmark on this and see how it fares against the older Exynos chips and even the older Snapdragon 855 and the 855 Plus. Seeing a phone this big and this thick, you'd think that they have a big battery on board, and that is true. It actually has a huge 5000 mAh battery, and thankfully the phone supports 45 watts fast charging. Minus points for Samsung though for only including a 25 watt charger in the box though. Only the S20 Ultra supports that 45 watt super fast charging. The S20 and the S20 Plus only has up to 25 watts. The phone also supports fast Qi wireless charging up to 15 watts, and it still retains that reverse wireless charging feature first introduced by Huawei at up to 9 watts of charging. And finally, let's talk about the star of the show, which is the cameras. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra has a primary 108 megapixel wide lens that has OIS. It also comes with a 48 megapixel telephoto camera in a periscope configuration. I'm not sure if you can see it here. So it's similar to the one that came out on the P30 Pro. And this is actually what enables it to have a 10x hybrid lossless zoom. And as you can see there, it boasts of 100x zoom. Rounding out the camera system is a 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 0.3 megapixel time of flight or depth sensor. Samsung calls their 100 times zoom space zoom. Can't wait to test that out, guys, so I'm going to be shooting a lot of photos with this one. Switching to stalker mode. I do still have that P30 Pro, which is the phone that I'm using to record this video actually. I'm going to be doing an in-depth camera comparison between the two and see which one does zoom better. So stay tuned for that, guys. Let's change the background to something lighter. Alright, there you go. A lighter wallpaper, so at least you can see that punch hole over there. On the front, the megapixel party isn't over yet, as the phone rocks a 40 megapixel selfie camera that allows 4K video recording up to 60 frames per second. And lastly, those familiar with the channel knows that my unboxing is not complete without my usual speaker test. Let me shoot up YouTube real quick here, guys. Alright, here we go, guys. Alright, those were pretty loud speaker, guys. Really impressed. Does have a hint of bass. A lot better than the S10 Plus, to be honest. But of course, that's my personal opinion. Still, it will do you in a pinch in a small room. It can fill up that room with sound. I'd still go for a pair of good headsets any day. Before we wrap up, let's do a quick size comparison with the previous flagship phones from Samsung. So I've got here the S10 Plus and the Note 10 Plus. So you can see S10 Plus is actually really small when it's put alongside or when it's put next to the S20 Ultra. Personally, I still like the punch hole over there instead of having it on the center. I do forget the punch hole a lot when it's on the upper right. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, guys. It might be just me, but having it directly on the center actually makes it more distracting for me. Let me flip over the Note 10 Plus as well. In terms of size, the S20 Ultra is still the biggest phone on the bunch, but holding it on the phone, it doesn't feel too big. This is a good example of ergonomics done right. So good job on that, Samsung. Even though this is already tablet size with a almost 7-inch display, it's still very usable one-handed. Though your mileage may vary. I don't really have big hands, so it's going to be hard for me to reach the top, and I have to hold the phone from the middle. But people with bigger hands might not have the same problem. The S20 Ultra does feel pretty thick, and that huge camera bump at the back really sticks out. So I'd really recommend getting a case that covers that, so you can be protected from accidental bumps and scrapes. Though I bet that case would make the already big phone even bigger. So is this phone a worthy upgrade to the S10 Plus or even the Note 10 Plus? The chipset upgrade is incremental at best. The camera system though is what you can look forward to. Though I still believe that a high megapixel count doesn't automatically mean that the camera is good. Fortunately, Samsung has a good track record of fixing things via software update. Though, updates do come slower than other companies like OnePlus. So I'll be using the phone as my daily driver for a couple of days or for a couple of weeks. I've actually handed the Galaxy Z Flip to my wife, so she's going to be using it as her daily driver and let me know how she likes it. I'll be using the S20 Ultra. So with that said, let me know in the comment section down below if this super camera phone is a piece of tech to get. Until then, like and subscribe, hit that bell icon notification, and see you all in my next one.